Hi there, that's right, it's the great and glorious, soon to be famous one day, Nick Dutch, back on the camera again one more time for another delightful tarot show. We've got a few inquiries coming through YouTube. I'm going to tackle those. If you want your request to appear in the tarot show, please send me an email to nickdutchtarot, that's NICKDUTCHTAROT @gmail.com, including your first name, your date of birth, and your inquiry. Don't send me a massive, 22 paragraphs. Don't just send me one line. Give a bit of basic background, give me your inquiry, and we can see whether we can include you in this show. No questions about medical matters, pregnancy and childbirth and the rest of that, because that will be illegal, immoral and unethical. And there are, some other minor issues that basically I wouldn't really, touch. So, apart from that, nearly anything is game. Legally speaking, a tarot reading is sold as a entertainment service for good common sense and ethical reasons, okay? So take that into account, as well as legal reasons as well. So use this as part of your creative problem solving process rather than necessarily the fact finding mission. But I've had loads of people all across the world who do claim that I provided them with insight, perspective, I provided some assistance here and there. So hey, it's all good stuff. So we'll crack on with the readings for today. And I do apologize for not doing a show last week. I needed a week off anyway, and it was the week of my birthday, so I thought, yeah, I wanted to pamper myself and look after myself, so that's basically what I did. So I do apologize for that, but never mind. Here we go, on with the first reading of today. Okay, Ashika is curious as to what her next partner is going to be like in terms of appearance. Well, I don't always receive visual data. Obviously, as is traditional, I'm shuffling the cards like crazy because I want it to be nice and random. And we'll see basically what's coming through. We'll just pick up a few defining characteristics and see whether that can actually help you. Alright, well, the basic nature of this individual would be strong, stable, I would say down to earth, respectable. I would say someone who thinks a lot about financial stability, maintaining that aspect of things, which is obviously a very important part of life. But also those strong earth signs that were coming out there in the Knight of Discs can speak about defense or defending, protecting the hearth. So we're talking about someone who's quite home-loving and also would want to be very beneficial towards a family environment. It's a very family-orientated kind of atmosphere. So he's a fighter, he's a protector, he's a lover, he's the kind of individual who will probably be quite beneficial in lots of different ways. Good business sense and down-to-earth, alright? The down-to-earth nature will probably be reflected in the colours that he wears and the ways in which he chooses to live his life. So essentially it's quite an interesting combination of energies associated with them. What else do we have there? A desire or an ability to be able to find common grounds when there's some difficulties and disagreements. So this is like a conflict resolution type individual. It's not necessarily someone who will say, I'm the one who's right here. It's not that level of pomposity. It's more a question of even flowing, trying to find ways in which you can both get on and get by, essentially. It feels very happy in that particular respect. But also I'd say a very driven individual, and yes, you guessed it, we got the Ace of Cups there, which is absolutely tremendous, because that's essentially speaking about a very pure emotional heart bond connection, which is the quality of connection I think you've been looking for a long period of time. So it feels very interesting and very positive, and I wish you all the best of luck when that character comes along, because I feel that one will probably be the one that you'll be looking for or will be after. Okay, Honey Bunny is curious about a particular situation. She's with her partner, she's been with them for a long period of time, and basically thinks that maybe this is time to move on because the mentality of this individual is just not right. Okay, well, I'm not here to turn around to you and say, you should do this or you should do that. I just don't want to do that. I'm not really the person to do that for you anyway. And I think that the word should is a bit of an order. And should your tarot reader be really the person who should be sitting there and saying, you should do this, you should do that, you have to do this, you must do that. I think that people who do that are actually really rather undesirable, whether they're tarot readers or whether they're just ordinary individuals, basically. But essentially, we'll have a quick look and see what the reading says. Standard 8-card relationship reading methodology coming up for you today. Okay, Honey Bunny, let's see what's coming through for you. Right, okay, well, the way it's coming through is quite interesting. On your side of the reading, obviously it's my standard 8-card relationship reading, so you know the scene. 2 for you, 2 for your partner, 1 for the forces between the two of you, and a further 3 for short-term, mid-term, and long-term. On your side of the reading, the Magician reverse, you need to have a new beginning, definitely a very strong new beginning, and you've also got enough wisdom and knowledge basically from past experiences, and you want to be able to try and move things on to a bigger and a better level. but also a question of wisdom. Does he have enough? How much more wisdom could you actually bring into the relationship on the basis that he's actually prepared to listen? Basically, you know an awful lot about what's wrong with him. Okay, he's the one who's stubborn. He's stuck in the mud. Okay, on his side of things, prudence and caution. He doesn't want to change. He doesn't want to move further forward. He's sort of like stuck there and can't really see like the wood for the trees at the moment. But also he's got resentfulness. He's got some bitterness inside him. Now this is not based upon something that you've done. This is something that's based upon something which happened to him an awful long time ago. So he's basically hanging on to the past and not prepared to move further forward into the future. So he's a very difficult individual to deal with. So I can understand where you're coming from. You know, should this actually come to an end in the here and now? Obviously very difficult for me personally to say. I mean, the forces between the two of you are still talking about a bit of a sense of passion, a bit of a spark there, okay? So I'm still seeing this as a slightly optimistic reading, because there's still that residual energy. Otherwise, I'm sure, you know, he would have buggered off a long time ago, to be quite frank. And to be slightly colloquial, I really should watch my language when I'm doing these readings. But never mind. The energy there is complex, it's fraught, there's a sense of conflict. Yes, it's difficult. I'm not here to make up your mind for you, but I will give you a short glimpse into the short-term, mid-term and long-term future as defined by the reading itself. Short-term future. Slow progress. It's still stuck in the mud. Okay, I regard this card as being as talking about the affection is there, but the desire to change and progress really isn't. So it's literally stuck in the mud. You can see the like treacly patterns there. Okay, and that's, I feel that's literally talking about stuck. Because if you're trying to get progress, you're finding it very hard. So within the first 3 months, you're not really going to get like the dramatic progress you might want to have, or you might actually lust after. But further on down the line, a bit of a change of the energy there. Okay, we don't have a dramatic change. We don't have the death card. We don't have the lightning struck tower. We don't have something saying like a massive, like a ray of light is suddenly appearing. It's more organic. It's slowly developing, almost as if a cloud will lift from his head with the passage of time. Now, what you choose to do is still up to you. It's never up to me. Never has been. Never will be. But essentially, the reading is coming out with signs relating to affection, a sense of satisfaction, and a feeling of moving towards self-actualization. Now, that feeling of self-actualization could mean two things. Number one, the relationship could turn over, could transform, could become something bigger and better and more beautiful. Okay, but it could mean something else, and that is, you know, after 6 months from now, you could decide to move on. I feel the reading is suggesting that you still give it a bit more time, if you can. If you can. If you can't, then obviously, you know, fine, there's ways of going about these things, but essentially, you can make something better occur for yourself, I feel, in one way or another. He still needs cajoling. Okay, so he wasn't very receptive towards counseling therapy, but sometimes these things just happen that way. So don't worry about that too much and focus in on your needs right now, because no matter what, and I say this all the time because it's true, okay? Even if you're in the best relationship in the whole wide world, you are still the most important person in your life, not the other person who you're involved with. Make sure you get that, you know, clear and straight and true inside your own mind. Remember that. It's a fact. Jane57, thank you very much for your inquiry. Difficult times, and you've gone through a lot of disappointments there. An awful lot. And I feel very strongly for you. You know, this must be a terrible situation with everything that's gone on. Alright, but let's have a quick look and see if there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Alright, so have a quick look. First and foremost, we'll do your career side of things first and see what's going on there. Okay, very interesting indeed. The first signs we got there, very mercurial. Now, yes, the Hermit card can speak of isolation. It can speak of needing to go inside yourself to try and find an answer, but it can also speak about studying to improve something you already know. Alright, there's also something to do with a mercurial message, the egg and serpent image. You can probably see kind of like up there. Is often talking about going towards a goal. You did mention in your message something about care work. I feel that this is a reference to something of a healing nature, and maybe that would be still a good direction for you to go in. So leave yourself outside the front door when you go into work, but remember that afterwards, you can come back to yourself afterwards. It can be very draining doing care work, so I hear and understand, but I feel you got the energy to be able to do that right and do that correctly. Now, what else have we got as far as your career is concerned? Okay, you're being portrayed as being a strong and stable character, a character full of wisdom, who has the ability to gain real financial stability. Not immediately, this is still many months down the line from now, but it's couples with the Hermit card. So essentially it's your effort which is bringing about this sense of financial stability, which is going to be right for yourself. Okay, so this is when you've got to maintain your motivation, despite the fact that, you know, all those around you may be saying like, oh, you can't do it, or all the rest of it, or that little voice inside your own mind will be turning around to you and saying, basically, you know, it can't happen. I don't think that that's the case. I think it can happen. I think it will happen. I feel that you will be a major motivator in your own life. I sense progress. I feel progress, and you know, it's still one step at a time, and we are in difficult times these days. We are going to be able to get that back on track. I really, 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 really believe it, okay? So keep cool, keep calm, keep focused. It's looking quite happy. Now, romantically speaking, and I think this is actually quite an interesting reading, the way it's turned out as we move further forward into the future, okay? So you've got 4 cards here which symbolize the whole progression. First and foremost, the most beautiful card in the pack, depending upon the question, of course, depending upon the inquiry, the energy, and the things that I'm receiving. But the Death card speaks of change and transformation. Now, you've been through hell. Basically, you've been through hell. You could probably want like nothing better than to have an entirely different energy about your own life and about the way in which you're living it. That's what the Death card is bringing about, okay? From the chrysalis to the butterfly. That's the main message there. So, your life by, let's say, 2 years down the line from now will be a dramatic change away from where you are at the moment. And I'm sure you'll be able to come back to me and like submit a request or a comment or whatever it is on my YouTube channel and say, basically, Nick, you were right, because things have started to move on for me, and I really believe that you're going to be able to really see that happening in your life. Now, in what particular area of life? We've had a look at work, so essentially that side of things is done and dusted, that's out the way. Okay, we can move on like a clean sheet of a new exercise book in school. Okay, on to the next subject, which is l'amour, okay, which is very much to do with love. We don't normally get this kind of combination coming out quite so intense, quite so focused there, because we got very strong love signs there. The Ace of Cups, which is beautiful and perfect. I shuffled very thoroughly, the likely to be coming out like that, and followed on by the second card within the cup suit. Is absolutely amazing. Now, why would that in particular be amazing? Because it's coupled with the Prince of Wands. Now, I've spoken to you before about this, all of you customers out there, inquirers, viewers, voyeurs, or whatever it is you are, okay? Because that particular significator within the stave suits deals with the energy of the Archangel Michael. Now, within Jewish mythology, the Archangel Michael is the one who works the miracles of God. Okay, you got the higher power, and you got those that work for the higher power, who's actually doing like the dirty work, so to speak, making sure things happen. And this is the miracle worker. Do you feel at this dark time in your life you could use a miracle? Do you feel that? Do you feel that you can actually use like complete transformation of the entire situation of your life itself? Well, this is, again, within this 2-year period, suggesting not only your work side of things is being sorted out, but also a romantic connection which you will be comfortable with, that will be compatible with yourself, and you will be calm and happy with, appears to be the main energy associated with that. So, you're feeling bad. The reading is talking about miracles being worked in the here and now in your life, or at least something analogous to a miracle. Okay, it's not literally Archangel Michael appearing at your front door saying, we'll do it, we'll sort it all out for you. You still got to work for it, okay? But essentially, when you see that transformation, it's going to be, or it's going to seem like it's going to be miraculous. The Death card and the Archangel Michael signs coming through for you in this reading today. Absolutely brilliant. I find that fantastic. So, you're going to have a different life. TK Da Prince 22. You're inquiring as to whether you'll ever make your family happy and you'll be a good partner to your partner, okay? See whether things can change in that respect for you. Let's have a quick look for you and just see what kind of thoughts, feelings, moods, energies, and all the rest of that are going to appear for you. Still shuffling like a lunatic. If the cards aren't down and I'm just talking to you, it means I'm shuffling like mad. This is probably the closest thing you can get to live entertainment here on YouTube. And of course, YouTube is internet television on demand. So let's have a quick look and see basically what's coming through for you there. Okay, fantastic. The most important signs we got for you there is coming through with the Wheel of Fortune. Now, this can talk about pleasure, but the variety of pleasure that it's talking about and it's giving is that associated with I would say the thrill of the chase, the thrill of the hunt, trying to make sure that you bring something about. It looks like you're the kind of individual who tries many different things, many different routes to reach a particular goal. So you're a creative person, you're a problem-solving individual, you know there's some chance involved, but you're also willing to take a few minor risks. I mean, there's good signs here relating to caution, because you've been through enough struggle and strife in the past, okay, so you've learned from that. You don't throw caution to the wind. So it's more like a wise gamble rather than an unwise one, if you get my drift. I mean, a wise gamble would be like going to a good place that sells tea and coffee and buying a good cup of tea from them. That would be a good gamble. You never know how it's going to work out. You know, the future's still the undiscovered country, but it'll be more likely to be a good cup of tea from a good place rather than somewhere that's not so good, if you get my drift. So if you maintain that mentality, you're going to be okay. Now, as far as being a happy person, or having a happy situation with your family and with your partner, we've got some excellent signs associated with that coming through for you there. Signs of you being like, I would say, a caregiver. I'd say someone with a very strong romantic and emotional energy, and also someone who's capable of fighting for other people's rights. I feel you've held yourself back and you've been rather introverted because of other people's power and dominance over you at times, okay? So you haven't been able to come out of your shell and do things which were right and which were responsible and from a position of authority and wisdom. This is the change which will be happening in the way in which you'll be doing things, in the way in which you'll be living. So it feels very interesting as far as your progression is concerned. You will start to make your family proud of yourself, okay? You will start to make your partner proud to be your partner. 7 Fantasy is that, VII Fantasy. Okay, you're a recent graduate, and now you don't know where you're going, what you're doing, and all the rest of that. That's a very common state of mind to be in, and I was in a very similar situation when I left university for the first time. Okay, I've had a few different university courses since then, but never mind. And essentially, what I did is I found my way. I found my niche, my role in society, my role in life itself, and part of that is being here for you today, here on the Tarot Show with the great and glorious, soon to be famous one day Nick Dutch. This is part of it, but for yourself it'll be a different path. But one of your questions is, will you be successful? Okay. Big question, big issue. As is traditional, shuffling like a lunatic, still using the Book of Thoth Tarot because I love the colours. And the patterns and the mysticism and all the rest of that, okay? Right, now. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. You will get a flash of inspiration, which is what the lightning struck tower deals with, formerly known as the House of God, okay? Talking about a lightning bolt striking the tower to bring about change and transformation, alright? Your life is going to feel like it's going in a complete circle. You're going to return to some ideas which you had a long time ago, but to do them a damn sight better than you would have been able to do it otherwise if you hadn't gone through your university studies. It might not even be, relevant to your studies, but the fact of the matter is, we got a sense of hard work needing to be done, because that's basically what the Three of Coins seems to say to me. We've also got a sense of blending different ideas or uniting your life goal or your future path associated with something which is things that you have done, things that you are doing, things that you will be doing. Alright? Taking inspiration from a wide variety of different sources to basically get there. There's something strange about this which makes me feel that maybe even journalism might have some kind of connection to your longer term future. Writing, expressing yourself through literature in some manner. It appears to be something which just popped into my head, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you that and see whether that'll be useful for you. I don't know whether you'll become a journalist, whether you'll become a writer, I don't know, but that appears to be part of your future. And the way that you express ideas will help to change people's lives. That's essentially the main message that I'm getting there. There's lots of different dimensions you could be moving your life into, but essentially that's one of the many. But I feel in the long-term self-employment, I would say in the short-term, creative something or other associated with the written word. Zing O Doom! You've got your heart set on somebody, haven't you? Ooh. It's always exciting when that happens. The heart starts racing, the hormones start pouring around the body. Wonderful time, but they don't know it. Well, let's have a quick look. Standard 8 card relationship reading methodology. See what kind of thoughts, feelings, moods, energies, and all the rest of that are coming through for you today, associated with this mysterious individual. Just bear with me a second, please. Okay. Okay, I like what I'm seeing here. Developing communication, slow and steady. At the moment, you're still held back, you're still anxious, you're still worried. But the feeling there is that there is still something around on the horizon. You can feel it in your bones, I'm pretty sure of that. Do they have an interest in you? Not yet. That's the message there. You're in a difficult situation because they haven't really properly got feelings as of yet. There's something germinating inside there, but is it, the proper boom, total like, we got feelings, yay? I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing interest, I'm seeing intrigue, but I'm not seeing boom, fireworks. Now, is there an opportunity for fireworks to occur? I've obviously shuffled very thoroughly so far. Let's have a quick look and see what kind of thoughts, feelings, moods, energies, and all the rest of that are going to appear for you today. Not bad in the mid-term future, okay? Maintain your inner strength during the short term. Things are going to be difficult. Drop little hints here and there. Then we got signs relating to happiness, pleasure, and a touch of celebration, and it is a loving message, so there is good stuff there. Further on down the line, a peaceful reconciliation. So this individual might actually be quite negative to you when you first express the idea that, do you want to be like even closer friends? That kind of thing. And all of a sudden, what are you talking about there? So that's maybe what you may face initially. So it'll be steady progression, stepping back, moving forward, until you're finally there. And then you'll be able to have, some good opportunities. Now, that's the way it's panning out in the reading. It depends upon how you do it, how gently you do it, and how friendly you do it. Alright, that's the way that I'm seeing it. Okay, White Lady 321. Intriguing question. You want to know what aspects of your life you can improve on for the purposes of, getting the right relationships sort of situation sorted out. We can do this in a 4-card reading, I believe. So let's just have a quick look and see what's coming through for you. Okay, looking absolutely fascinating. Starting off with the here and now. Signs of sorrow and sadness. Now, that appears to be implying to me that it's the way in which you express yourself emotionally, okay? I think the phrase, you need to chill out, would be appropriate. But it's a question of how you do it. Being yourself, but also being appropriate to the situation when you're in conversation with someone is quite important as well. But trying to raise the mood so that you can actually be happier with them, they can be happier with you is basically what I'm seeing there. I do feel that the repair work upon your character, your nature, and all the rest of that will start to come through to you. And within the next 2 to 3 months at the outside, the wisdom that you will need to be able to start something is going to happen there. Okay, the Eight of Staves here is saying something else to me. And it's suggesting that you will start to feel comfortable and enthusiastic about a relationship which will develop, and it'll be a whole new energy associated with that, okay? Yes, you've had some dark energy in the past, okay? That's the signs for, the past, not the here and now, not the future. But don't let that hold you back, because essentially, there's still that good sense of there being future progression. And you will have that great sense of conversation and stability associated with the right quality of individual. Again, not too far around the corner for you. It's going to happen, so just realize the way that you express yourself needs to be improved. Obviously, we all need to do basic stuff like, wash, look after our hair, or even the men have to do that as well. But, just see in what other ways you could express yourself. I'll tell you a little secret. Many years ago, when I did my first ever psychic fair, there was a lady who came to my stall. And she wore a very scruffy, very tattered raincoat. And she had those kind of like spectacles that went up to a point and were very heavy framed. She wasn't wearing any makeup at all, okay? She obviously hadn't washed for a long period of time because, it was a bit difficult, shall we say. And she asked me, when will I get married? So some people do get a lack of perspective. That was an extreme example. You're not in that situation, I know. But occasionally we can sort of like lose perspective of the way in which we're expressing ourselves to other people. And if you could just even ask people who are close to you and just say, like, in what ways do you think I could like change my expression, or something to do with my posture and little things like that, I feel you'll be able to get that wisdom that you need so that you can become basically a stronger person in the conflict orientation of being in a relationship situation. Okay, you'll make it. Okay, Critchell 1. You've got a lot going on. Now, you mentioned a few medical issues there. I do not read on medical issues. I'll point that out right now. Purely for ethical reasons, legal reasons, moral reasons. I'm sure you can understand I'm not a doctor. Okay, so you don't come to someone like me for medical advice. I know you haven't, but you've mentioned the basic situation. What I'll do is I'll focus the reading on yourself, on your own energy, your own personality, okay, and how that's going to change, improve, get better, get bigger, get stronger, get fatter, get faster, get, ready to rumble with the passage of time, and indeed whether it will. I mean, I have no idea what's going to come out in the reading. I've got no idea what's going to come through into my mind, or indeed whether this is going to help you out at all. All I can do is do my job and tell you what I can see, and that's it. Alright? But here we go. Not bad at all. Doing a short, little compact reading, so though you give me a fair bit of text there, the message is quite simple, will things get better? You're here and now. Nasty card that is, isn't it? Cruelty. The sense that life has been unjust. And a feeling of restriction, powerlessness. You've got lots of things going on that you are truly powerless over. But is that the whole of the situation? Is that the whole of your, the way that your future is going to pan out? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Again, getting information from a wide variety of different sources, a sense of there being some healing energy there for you, okay? Because when you're stronger, you can bring more light into the whole family environment with all those people around you who are suffering and all these issues there. So the feeling is taking ideas from other sources, bringing them together, healing yourself, okay? Definitely get that book I always recommend to everybody else, which is Hands of Light by Barbara Ann Brennan, because that's all about healing and healing yourself on the spiritual, on the mental, on the emotional level, and see how far that can take you. And finally, yep, there we go. That's your victory dance, literally. Don't know whether you can see that at the bottom there. It's actually called Victory, okay? This card reminds me of just like that moment when you've been through a hard struggle and a hard fight and you've actually got the right result. Just like when you've been studying in university and all of a sudden, after 3 years of banging your head against a brick wall and trying to get your whole life sorted out and trying to force ideas into your head that you thought you probably couldn't deal with, boom, something clicks and you actually get through your exams and you come out and you have your, your graduation ceremony and everything's good. Alright, that's the kind of feeling that's coming around the corner for you. And mark my words, that feeling will come. Alright, it's going to be there for you. Okay, Scalone 236, you want to get a new apartment. Okay, well let's just have a quick look and see what's coming through for you as far as apartment, gaining, and so on and so forth. So we're looking out for signs relating to land, solidity, stability, earth signs, signs of transactions occurring, things to do with money, property, shelter, that sort of thing. So here we go. Right. Absolutely brilliant. Now the signs we got here for you, initially being a bit cautious. Yes, of course, that's not really too much of a problem, because when you do get that apartment, it looks like, they're like buses. You can wait all day and all of a sudden 3 good ones can come along at once. So you're going to have to make a wise decision. Transforming your entire life, coming through very strongly with a death card. We've had that come through earlier on today, haven't we? And it's the same message for yourself as well. And of course there is basically that message of solidity and stability which is coming through there. So, wonderful. Okay, the Ace of Coins, which is representing gaining property in this particular case. It's an ace card. It's talking about the first stage and bringing yourself to the point whereby you can actually be happy and stable and financially stable as well. Time frame I'm not going to give you because I'm not getting that all that clearly. If we were to we can say it's going to happen within the short to mid-term future. Maybe a pessimistic time frame of 6 months, which means, of course, it could happen by tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock, for all I know. But essentially, there is this feeling that it is going to be impending. Just carry on working at it, babe. That's the best thing that you can do. I mean, seriously, it's the best thing that you can do, and you're going to get some great results. Okay, Rima, you've got a marriage situation, stroke problem, stroke issue, stroke something or other. Let's have a quick look and see basically what the reading is going to say for you today with reference to this complex situation. 8-card relationship reading coming up with a side order of love and spirituality. Thank heavens I'm not a short order cook, otherwise I'd be serving up tarot cards all the time. I wouldn't be serving up chips and burgers. Never mind. Okay. Well, do you want the good news first or the bad news first? Well, the good news is that this is still a relationship that can go on for a long period of time. And the bad news is this is still a relationship that can go on for a long period of time. But But that can also be the positive, because if you've got that stability there, it's just a question of rearranging the foundation so that you can essentially have a feeling that things are okay. And that's where your skills have really got to come in, when you're actually doing your communication there, because at the moment you're having to be defensive, okay? You're having to like be a little bitter because you're being given bitterness, and so that's why you got to fight back, you know, and put up, you know, a few barriers. Laying down boundaries can be better than putting up barriers. And making sure that you've got some things which you're quite strong about, some things you allow some flexibility about, but other things, you know, that you maintain that strength about, so that you can try and sculpt the relationship, sculpt the marriage into the future, so, you know, the happiness, the joy, the pleasure can really come through. Now on his side of the reading, very difficult, okay, because he's someone who believes in himself. He really believes in himself, and that's oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. But this is the part of his character. I mean, this card actually turned out the other way around. And because of the sense of the sentence, so to speak, with what's going in up here, what you've given me, what I'm seeing here, it appears to me that there is still a loving bond. He doesn't really want to let go. He's just in this perpetual, I want to be the one who's right, kind of like state of mind. It's a bit like a child who likes having an argument with his or her mother, basically. And that's the kind of mentality that he's in. He should have outgrown it, I know, I know. Fact of the matter is, he hasn't, and that's a real pain in the you-know-what. But as I say, if you take the initiative there and you can start sculpting the foundation, you can start to get a good future. Again, we got some more cards which came out previously. Now I am shuffling like crazy, I promise you, okay? You know, all the time shuffling like a lunatic. But in this particular case, this is what happens occasionally when you're doing regular readings, okay? Some of them come through, and sometimes they come through again for a reason. We've got brilliant signs relating to there being some kind of pleasure, and actually getting some pleasure from the change, and how you actually make that change occur. Now, in what way can that pleasure operate? Learning how to enjoy the challenge. That's how I would explain it. Learning how to enjoy the challenge. And the results appears to be really rather good. I mean, without the shadow of a doubt. I mean, if you can learn how to enjoy the challenge, if you can change the way you're doing your foundation laying, if you can have boundaries rather than barriers, if you can communicate and be the one to lead the relationship, despite the fact it's his turn, okay, then I think you're going to get some good results. I really believe that, okay. It's, it feels to me to be one of those situations in which, you would like to just throw in the towel. Okay, you'd like to do that and just say, let's not handle this anymore. But don't, I personally, on the strength of what I've seen there and what I've felt, I don't think that would be the right attitude or the right way of doing things. That's my humble opinion, and all I can give you is my humble opinion based upon the experiences I get when doing readings, the signs that come out, the cards, the sensations, and all that kind of like cool stuff. So that's the way it's hanging at the moment. Okay, and that's basically the last reading of today. Get your reading requests in on the email address nickdutchtarot@gmail.com, and this particular show is going out on a few different sites, so essentially feel free to send through your email requests, and I'll be happy to add you to the rota, and you'll be appearing, or at least your reading will be appearing, in one of the future tarot shows with the great and glorious, soon to be famous one day, Nick Dutch. Every single one of you look after yourself. Good fortune. God bless.